So let's take a little bit of a look at arithmetic with fractions. This should be some review for you, but people still always struggle with them. They find fractions uncomfortable. So we're just going to do a quick review of adding, subtracting, and multiplying and dividing. So when we're adding and subtracting fractions, what we're doing is looking for a common denominator, and the denominator is that bottom number. Remember, the top is called the numerator, the bottom is called the denominator. So we need to make the bottoms the same, and so we're going to use some of that equivalent proportion idea with that. And then we're just going to add the tops. I guess we could say added, or they're subtracted, depending on the situation. So if we look at this first example here, we got 3/4 plus 3/16. So we need to get a common denominator. So we can look at 4 and 16. Is there something that we can multiply 4 by to get 16? Well, 4 times 4 is 16, and that'll get the bottoms the same. So again, making that equivalent fractions. So if I redo this, it's going to be something over 16 plus 3 over 16. Well, we multiply the bottom by 4. That equivalent fraction would be then to multiply the top by 4 as well. And so we're going to get 12. So we have 12/16 plus 3/16, which is going to finish off at 15 over 16, 15/16. So again, we're just multiplying those up to get there. Sometimes you can just multiply these bottom two numbers together. It just depends on finding the lowest common factor so that we don't have to do any simplification after. In the case of 9/20 minus 1/4, we need to do the same thing. We need to find that common denominator. So we can multiply 4 by 5 to get a 20, and thus we'll multiply the top by 5 as well for that equivalent fraction. And so we're going to have 9/20 minus 5/20. And 9 minus 5 is all we're going to do now. That's going to give us 4/20. 4/20 can be simplified. And so we can take that 4/20 and simplify that down. They're each divisible by 4. We're going to get 1/5 as our result. Now, in the case of multiplication and division, multiplication is a step in division. So if we just start with division, we can then relate it and connect it back to multiplication. So when we're dividing fractions, we flip the second fraction, change it to multiplication, and then multiply by multiplying the top number by the top number and the bottom number by the bottom number. So in our example here, 7/8 divided by 3/4. We take the 7/8, we flip this second fraction so that it becomes 4/3, and we change it to multiplication. And then it becomes 7 times 4/8 times 3. And so when we multiply 7 and 4, we're going to get 28. When we multiply 8 by 3, we're going to get 24. And now from here, we can simplify this down. 28 and 24 are both divisible by 4. So when we divide both those by 4, we're going to get, so we're dividing by 4 in each case. So 28 divided by 4 is 7, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. So we're going to get 7/6. Now, there's another way to do this, and that's we can do some cancellation in this first step. So we'll keep that as one version, but from this step we can branch off here, and actually I'll break it over here. So once we enter in the multiplication setup, we can't do this when it's division, but when it's multiplication, what we can do is we have that 7/8 times 4/3. And what we can do is cancel those pairs of numbers on the top and bottom. So in this case here, 8 and 4 can be canceled out. 4 goes into there once and goes into there twice. And now what we're doing is multiplying 7 times 1/2 times 3, which is 7/6. Either way that you do this, you're going to get the same answer. The difference is in the case where you can simplify ahead of time, you're working with smaller numbers, And in this case here, you're going to end up with bigger numbers and having to figure out the common factor between them, which might make them a little more uncomfortable. Whichever way you do it, you'll get the same answer, and it's just a matter of comfort.